guys, this video is going to be a tutorial on how to do a flower. Someone suggested that I not do a speed tutorial and that it would be more helpful maybe if I narrated it or slowed the video down and explained what I was doing. So here it is. Alright guys, so today I was going to show you guys how I made this, this spring wreath. I put Grace in the middle just because I thought, I don't know, I just thought it was really pretty. But this is really easy to do, and I'll show you guys how I did it. So I've already pre-painted my rock white. You can do whatever kind of a background that you want. I also think this design could be really pretty on a black background, which I might do in the future. The colors that I'm going to be using are all apple barrel. I've got China blue and primary blue. Or, you know, if you don't have these exact ones, just a light blue and a dark blue. Also, I'm using lime tree and holly branch. And again, if you don't have these exact colors, just a light green and a dark green. Then I have real brown and wild grapes. And then at the end, for the little gold flourishes, I'm going to be using this Lumiere paint in metallic gold. Okay, so I'm going to just lay out the basic shape of the wreath that I want. So I'm just going to freehand it. If you're not good at freehanding circles, then you can, you know, get like a bottom of a can or something to trace. But I'm just going to kind of wing it here. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going to use this as a general guide anyway. You'll have your twigs and stuff will come outside of the circle anyway. This just gives it a general guide. Okay, that's going to be my inner circle of the wreath, and then I'm going to draw a little bit of the outside to kind of give it some boundary of where I want my wreath to go. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to fill in the background first, like how I did on this one. See how you have the lighter green and the darker greens, and I have some browns in there too. I'm going to start with the light green. And to do this, when you first get out your paint, it will be kind of thick. And I'm going to water mine down. I want kind of like a watercolor effect. So I'm just getting my brush wet and then dipping a little bit. Let me see if I can show this to you guys. Dipping it a little bit into the green paint. You can see how it's more watered down. I'm just dabbing my brush in it like so. So it gives it a real kind of watery consistency. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and start doing some lines. Does not have to be perfect. This is basically acting as a filler for your wreath. So this part really you can just have fun with. Stress-free painting. Okay, once that's kind of filled in all around, I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller of a brush. And I'm going to do the same thing but with my dark green. So I'm getting my brush wet, watering the dark green down just a little. And then I'm going to try to do thin strokes again in between here. So you're just starting to fill in your background. And as is in nature, nothing is perfect. So just have fun with it. And you know, there's really no mistakes to make in this, especially in the background. I like this kind of painting a lot. Okay. All right, now that I have some of that green put in, I'm now going to go in with my brown. And I'm going to do that with my even smaller brush. This is the fine line brush. And I'm going in with it thinner because, you know, typically greenery is thicker than like a twig. So, you know, to sort of mimic the real life, how it would be. Still same concept, watering down the brown paint a little. And just going in wherever you want. Just filling in the blank space. You just want a good variant of the different branches. You want to stay in the general shape of the wreath, you know, the circular pattern, so you're kind of curving each branch or leaf sprig that you're putting in there. Oh, that one got kind of thick. That's okay because it'll be covered up when we add the flowers. Okay, almost done with this. And if we want any extra as we go along, we can always add in more. I usually always go in and fill in more once I add flowers. Okay, so now that we have our basic background done of our wreath, you want that to dry because now we're going to be adding in our flowers. So I'm going to stop the video and let this dry for a few minutes and then we'll come back. Okay, now my paint is dried. So now we're going to go in and start the flowers. So we're going to put in the biggest flowers first. So that's going to be these red flowers. Whenever I did this one, I just eyeballed it of where, you know, if I saw a wreath hanging on a door or if I was going to try to create a wreath, where I would want the flowers to be. So just have fun with it. Wherever you think you want to add flowers, add flowers. So for me, I'm going to stick with this general pattern, kind of, you know, for the four corners, I guess, of the wreath. So we'll do that. So I've got my medium kind of rounded brush, and I'm going to just get some of the red paint, the dark red paint, and I'm just going to make a circle, kind of like a half circle. And I'm not going to fill that circle completely in, so you want to do like the bottom half of the circle. Once you have that in, I'm going to grab some pink on the same brush and add that in and just kind of blend it down and just keeping that half shape. I'm going to grab a little bit more red, adding it to it. And then I'm going to brush my paintbrush off on my paper towel so that I can unload it with paint and keep it dry. And I'm just going to lightly pat where the dark red and the pink meet. And that blends it together really well. And then I'm going to start doing the same thing. I'm going to do another one. We'll do another one beside it. You want the bottom of your flower to be the darker part. So however you want to angle your flowers, just know that the bottom of the actual flower you want at the bottom. Alright, so I'm just adding some more pink in here, filling that in, blending it together. I'm going to wipe my brush off and just pat right along the line where the pink and the red meet. Okay. Alright, now we're going to do some, we'll put one, let's put one up here. Sorry guys, my allergies are acting up. I don't mean to keep clearing my throat on you. So again, I'm going to do the bottom with the dark red, get some pink, put it towards the top. And if you notice, I'm not making a full circle. It's always staying at kind of that half circle shape. Alright, I brushed my paintbrush off. I'm going to blend on that line. Okay. Oops, I dropped my brush. Okay. Now we'll do another bunch over here. Getting some pink. Putting it on there. Brushing my paint off my brush and blending. I'm gonna do, oops, too much paint. I'm gonna do this one kind of angled down. Pink, wiping my brush and patting. That one didn't blend super good, so I'm just gonna add a touch more pink and a touch more red and blend. Okay, let's add another one over here. This one, I'm gonna make it seem like it's just looking straight at you. So like you're looking, so I am gonna do a full kind of circle on this one. So I'm gonna do the complete kind of circle. And then in the middle, fill it in with the pink. I'm gonna add a little bit more. And I'm brushing that off and just gonna blend the edges a little bit. That one did pretty good, so it doesn't need a lot of blending. Okay, I think I'm gonna add one more in here, small one. Little pink. Brushing my paintbrush off and blending. Okay, now that I've got those set up, I'm going to insert some of these blue flowers. So I'm going to get my lighter blue paint. Let me wash my brush off. Again, you don't want to water down this. That was just for the leaves. You'll have more control if you have a little bit thicker paint, so that's good for making these kind of flowers. Alright, so I'm going to do a general pattern of like 5 petals. So I'm going to stick one in here. So I'm just painting on like a petal shape. And just going to go around kind of an imaginary center. And I'm going to have it go over these buds. And I know you probably can't see that well right now. We'll add the dark blue in later to kind of add some more definition to the flower, but for right now, we're just using the light blue and giving the general shape of the flower. So I'm just creating another flower here. This one I'm going to leave just as like the 3 petals are showing, like the other 2 are underneath that flower. I'm going to do just a little bit down here, a little flower. Again, still sticking with kind of the 5 petal, which I'm sorry if you can't see that. This light, it's so light, the blue, that I think it might have a hard time showing up. It's kind of hard to see in person, so it may not translate well on the video. Okay, I think I'm going to do another one right here. One petal, 2 petals, 3, 4, and then there's the 5th. Alright, I'm going to add one up here. And, you know, this is just how I decided to arrange my flowers. You can do any kind of arrangement that you want. You can also use all different colors. You know, you can stick with the general theme of a dark color and a light color, and, you know, it would still give you the same result, you know, if you use the shading techniques. So you can have fun with it. Pick your favorite colors or your favorite kind of flower and create that on your wreath. Okay, just gonna stick in a few more here. Stick in one up here. I have not painted many flowers, especially not in this technique. Usually when I paint, really when I paint anything, I'm kind of more of a realistic painter. It's just kind of more of the art style, I guess, that I'm drawn to. So this was really fun because it's really forgiving. You know, it's sort of meant to be imperfect, which is kind of fun. It's fun to break out of your usual mold. But I had some people ask me to do a tutorial on flowers, and this is probably not what they were talking about. They probably wanted to see the more realistic flowers that I do, which I will do a tutorial on. But a lot of people had said that they really liked this design, so I thought I would show this just because it's super simple and fun. Okay, I'm going to put another one in kind of stuck behind this flower. Okay, and let's do one more right here. Okay, now our basic shape of our blue flowers are done. So I'm going to go in now with the darker blue. So for that, I'm going to use my thin brush, or my fine line brush. And you do want this paint thinned out a little bit. So I'm going to keep my brush a little more wet than I did when I was painting on the flowers. And I wiped off a lot of this paint. So once I loaded my brush, I wiped it on my plate. Just until it was, you know, it wasn't a ton of paint, because you want to give the illusion of some shadowing and some shaping of the flower. You don't want to, you know, have really harsh lines. So what I do is around each petal shape, I'm just basically giving an outline to the petal. Just lightly giving a little bit of shape. Oh, that one's still wet. And then I just kind of come out from where the middle of the flower would be. I don't add my middle of the flower in until the very last. If it's helpful for you to have a center point, you can go on and do that. But I don't add mine until last. Okay, so again, I'm gonna just kind of give a basic line to the outer edges of each petal. Need a little more water on my paint. If you start to get the thicker lines like this, see where that one was more opaque, that just means you need a little bit more water on your paint to kind of thin it out. But again, that adds to kind of the character of the flower, because no flower is alike. So once I get done outlining the petals, I'm just adding a little bit of this darken going towards the center of the flower. A lot of flowers that you see are darker towards the center, or like the darker colors, you know, come out from the center. So you can kind of use that as a general guide. So Doing the same thing here. This is the one that only has like the 3 petals. Oh, getting a little thick with my paint there. Alright, I'm just going to come out from the center. And, you know, again, it's thicker, but I'm okay with that. I think, you know, like I said, all flowers are different, so that's okay. Adding a little bit more water to my brush. Alright, I'm going to do this one. Same technique, outlining the petals. Okay, and doing my centers. You can probably tell by how I'm painting, but you don't want a lot of paint on your brush at all. So you want to have to go over it kind of a few times. If not, you're going to end up with like a thick chunk of paint, and it's going to ruin the effect of the flower that you want. So you really want to load your brush and then unload it. This is the little flower. Okay. Alright, see, aren't they looking cute? I like the blue flowers. Okay. And again, I'm using the pattern that I did for 5 petals. So for each petal, I'm giving 2 strokes up the sides. And then doing the centers. Every now and again, I just like to give my brush a clean start, so I will dip it in the water, wash it off, and then go ahead and dip some more paint. So I know not everyone paints like that, but I don't know, I just prefer to have a fresh start often with my brushes. Okay. I feel like they get gooped up. Alright, filling in those centers. This one keeps not seeming right to me. There we go. Okay. Oh, too much paint on my brush. Okay. And you'll notice I'm not going totally up to the tip of the petal. I feel like it makes it look kind of too structured if you outline it too much. So I just do the sides. I just like the way that looks for these flowers. I've really enjoyed. I belong to some rock groups through Facebook, and I've really enjoyed seeing what people are coming up with for springtime. I'm so looking forward to the warmer weather. I'm here in South Carolina, and we have had several days now of really nice, mild weather. It's been great. It's been pleasant to go outside. I have a newborn, and I've actually been able to take him out on walks and outside to hang out with his brother and sister who are riding their bikes or whatever. It's been really good. That kind of weather is good for my spirit. So even though it's technically not spring yet, this in my mind anyway, helps encourage it along. Okay, there's our blue flowers done. Now, let's go on and put the centers in on our flowers. So you know what, I think I used a yellow, which I did not get out. I did. Okay, so add this to your list of colors to use. You want to use, I use golden yellow. I'm just going to do that for the centers of the blue flowers. And then I'm also going to add in some brown over top of it. I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a yellow in the background. I just like the way that it looks layered like that. So, get that on there. I'm going to use my medium round brush again. If you want to, you can use a dotting tool to put the centers in. That will work too. But I'm just going to get kind of a dollop of the yellow on my brush and just lightly dot it in the center. And again, it can be kind of messy. It doesn't have to be a perfect dot because we're going to go over that with a brown, and it'll all blend together. Okay, simple, simple. And now I'm going to take that same brown that we did with the twigs in the background, and I'm going to get a small amount of paint on that on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to kind of just dot this into the yellows. So I'm not making another dot on top, I'm making several small dots in the yellow center, because you want that yellow to kind of show through, like they're almost like they're kind of seed pods that are down in there. So I'm just dotting. Okay. All right, now we'll go on and do the centers of our of the red flowers too. For that, I used this green. I think I did this a few days ago, but I think what I did is I watered down my light green. So take your lime green or whatever light color you're using and use the same effect. You want to, don't take all the water off your brush, and you're just gonna load your brush with the light green paint and have it just be a little bit watery, and you're just gonna kind of make a little semicircle in the flowers towards the base where the lighter color is of your flower. You want to leave a little bit of red or pink, whatever color it is, at the very top, just so you can see the outline of your flower. And again, because this is kind of like a watercolor technique with acrylics, you want it to be kind of watery. You want it to kind of run, for it to look almost sloppy. That's just what gives the effect that we're looking for. Okay. So then, now let's do our purple flowers. So I have these little, I don't know, maybe they'd be daisies. And then I also have kind of like lavender shaped stalks that are coming out. So we'll do both of those. So the daisies are with your dark purple, or I think this one's called grapes or something, wild grapes. All right, I'm going to use my fine liner brush, and I'm going to load it up, and then I'm wiping the paint off. Let's see if you can see this. So I'm putting it on my brush, and then I'm twisting my brush and just kind of knocking it off, so that you want to still maintain that point, but you don't have a ton of paint. And then I'm just going to put these daisies in kind of wherever I want them. So to do them, I kind of have a center, and you're almost making just like an asterisk with your brush. So, oops. So you're just dragging it down, getting more paint on. And just making those petals. Okay, there, one. And I'm getting more paint on my brush. Let's put one in here. You want your lines to be as thin as possible. Mine aren't the thinnest they could be, but again, this is just kind of a fun wreath. If you wanted to, you know, get more fine detail with it, you can. But I'm not today. Okay, get more paint on. Put one up here. Okay, get more paint on. I'll do a small one up here. Okay, and we'll do another here. Okay, and let's throw one in here. Oops, my brush hair is flailed out there. Okay. Alright, got those purple ones laid in there. So now let's do our lavender stalks. Okay, so to do the lavender stalks, I took the dark purple, that same dark purple, and I used the same brush. And I'm just going to go out from, I don't know, just wherever you want. You kind of make a triangular shape, but you dot it. So I'm going to make it a base for the flower by just dotting. And then as I go up, I'm making a triangular shape. And you just make that up to like a point. Just kind of play with it however thick you want it. And then I add a little bit of white onto my brush and I kind of dot up the side just to give it a little definition. Alright, so I'm going to get some more purple on my brush and we'll do a stalk. Let's do it coming out here. Again, you just make your base and you just work your way up kind of in a triangular motion by dotting. And this one looks a little, I'm going to add a little bit of a bottom to it so that it blends in more with the wreath. Alright, then I got some white on my brush and I'm lightly dotting up one side just to give it a little definition. And I'm cleaning my brush off, not because you have to, that's just how I roll. And putting more of that same purple on my brush. And let's throw one in over here. So I'm making my base. And I'm just working my way up white and going up the side again, doing the dotting technique. Okay, let's see. I think I'll put in one up here too. Let's do it pointing down. Gonna get the white and gonna dot it some. Okay. All right, so that's about all the flowers I'm gonna put in. At this point, you know, I just kind of eyeball it and see, okay, well, where do I want some more color? So because I watered down the paint so much to make these centers, they kind of faded once they dried. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna touch this back up, and then it's just gonna be, I'm just getting some more of that lime green paint on my brush and just gonna kind of lightly go over what I already did, just kind of giving them just a little bit more definition so they'll stick out. You don't want them to fade in with the wreath totally. Okay. All right. Now I fill in whatever greenery that I feel like it needs extra of. So I'm going to get, and I'm going to add in the leaves. So see how I've had these leaves added in? I'm going to do that now. So what I do with that, I get a little bit bigger of like the rounded brush. I think this is called a rounded brush. I'm not sure. This is just what I call it. Yeah, round. Haha, got it right. Okay, so you want to do the same watercolor kind of effect. So in order to do that, you dip your brush in water, and I just rub mine very lightly on my paper towel. And I'm going to go over and get that lime green paint, load my brush, and then to the side, brush it off. You want it to be kind of wet so that when you paint with it onto your rock, that it appears sort of translucent. Okay, so to do the leaf shape, I'm going to start with a point and drag it down just a little, and then push down with my brush, and then end with a point. Okay, so again, I just do this going around in the circle, okay? So I'm going to start out with a point, drag down a little, push, and end with a point, lift up again. So I'm doing a point, smashing my brush down, making a point. And I turn mine as I go. That's just good for me to keep the rounded shape of the wreath. So I'm doing the point, push down, and release. That one was kind of thick, but that's okay. Keep going around, just doing them wherever you want. Do the point, push down, and do the point. Let's put one more in about right here. So I'm dragging down, smashing the brush, and going into a point. Okay. Now I'm gonna throw some of these in on the outer edges too, I think. So I'm gonna get my brush a little watered down again. Water down my paint. And same technique. So I'm gonna do a line, smash the brush down, end in a point. And let's do one kind of over here. So I'm going to start out with a point, smash down, end with a point. Get some more paint on here. Let's throw the one in over here. So draw a line, smash down, end in a point. Okay, let's see, I think that's all of the leaves, well, yeah, for now. Okay, now I'm going to do that same technique. So I'm watering my brush down using the same brush, but I'm going to go to my darker green. So loading my brush with the dark green, and then I'm just over here watering it down. Okay. So because this is really dark, I want my wreath to be relatively bright, so I don't want to add in so much of the dark green leaves that it takes away from the brightness. So I'm going to try to make them a little smaller than what I did the bright green leaves. All right, so I'm just going to kind of go in wherever I want. Let's throw one in here. So I'm going to do a small line, smash it down, and a curve. Okay, so I'm adding in just really a lot smaller ones than had been. I'll put in one here. That one kind of watered down a little bit. Nothing we can't fix. All right, I'm going to throw one in over here. I'm going to do it kind of on top of this one. So you draw the line down, smash, and go in towards the center. Let's put one in over here too. So we'll do it here. So draw a line, smash that brush. Okay. Do one over here, kind of by itself. I'll do another one right beside it. All right, now to me, it's looking a little lopsided, so I'm going to add some in up here. If you don't get your points exact, just go in like I'm doing and add them in, because more often than not, my points are no good. So, like I said, I'm new to flowers, so learn as you go, right? Okay, so now I'm going to add in some more, a little bit more of my background of my wreath. I'm going to add it in just a little bit more out here, just to make it kind of stand out more. So I'm going to take my little bit smaller round brush, load it with some water. Still going to use the watered down stuff. So I'm going to start with my light green that I watered down, and I'm just going to draw in some more sprigs just wherever I want. Just wherever I kind of want a little bit more leafiness. So just eyeball it, whatever you think. If you do lines and you don't like it, you know, the good thing about having a background when you paint is you can cover it up. You know, just paint over it in white if you don't like it, no big deal. Important part is just have fun with it, you know, don't stress over it, just do it, and if you mess up, fix it. Not a big deal. Nothing in painting is typically ruined. You can always fix it. Okay, now that I did my light green, I'm going to go in with some, I was going to say I'm going to go in with some darker green, but I'm not. I'm going to go in with some brown. I don't know that I'm going to do any more dark green in this since I've already got the leaves. Alright, so I'm just filling in wherever I want, just wherever I feel like it might need a little something extra. Some coming up from the center just to get a little unkempt look. Okay, that's looking good to me. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in the gold flourishes. This paint I am in love with. I got this for Christmas. It actually came in a set. These are like the metallic series by Lumiere, and these paints are so high quality. They're awesome. But all of these, let's see if you can see it on the video. Let me open it. It's so shiny. I mean, it's so beautiful. So, I'm just going to use what's in the lid here. I'm using my fine line brush. And I'm just going to throw in kind of curly cues, just kind of wherever I want. Just kind of coming off out of the wreath. Do them kind of whatever shape you want. I'm doing, just kind of them coming out everywhere. Just kind of going around all on the outside. I kind of want the gold curly cues to be somewhat consistent going around in the circle. Okay, I'm going to do some little just lines of it coming through here. And I don't know how much this is showing up on the video, but when we seal it and the gloss goes over it, having these little gold things throughout here, it makes it really just give it like a really pretty shine. I don't know, it's really nice. Alright, so now I'm going to go through and just do a little bit of random lines of this gold just throughout the wreath, just for some added glam. Okay, now to do the wording. So I'm a little nervous about doing this on the video because I don't have much practice with script writing at all. So whenever I do any kind of writing, so that I know that it's centered, I take whatever the center letter is and I'll do it first. So I'm going to do the A, try to get it right center of my my wreath here. I'm going to use that same gold, and I want it to be quite fine, so I brushed off a lot of the paint that's on here. So in calligraphy, your upstrokes are thin and your downstrokes are thicker. So that is what I'm going to try to do. Okay, so I'm going to start with my A line, which should be thicker. And then I'm going to try to make the A part of it a little thinner. Okay. Alright, there's the A. That's pretty centered. So from there, you can start over here, you can start over here. I usually do the last lettering and then I go to the front. So that's what I'm going to do. Got my A done. So again, it's supposed to be on your upstrokes they're thinner, and then on your downstrokes they're thicker. So I kind of go in and make it thicker if I don't get it in the first go round. If you are like me and have no idea how to do calligraphy or not trained in that, then you can look online. There's a lot of tutorials, and there's also like some fonts that you can get and print them out and trace them onto your or freehand them with a pencil onto your rock before you paint if you're not comfortable freehanding. just prefer to freehand it, kind of, so I'm gonna thicken this side up a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna go backwards and do the R over here. I'm using this for reference, by the way. I'm not doing this out of memory. I'm looking at this as I paint this. Okay. Okay, got the R on there. Now I'm gonna do the G. So let's see, I'm gonna start it here. Gonna do a big loop. Alright, I'm gonna go in and fill this, where the lines are supposed to be thicker and whatnot. I'm gonna fill that in after I get this mapped out here. Okay, so the downstrokes are thicker, so if I was writing this, like if this was a pen, so this would be thin, this part is going to be thicker. And I'm gonna thinly kind of trace over these just so the gold is more vibrant. Still not wanting to make the lines thicker, but just darkening the gold just a tad. Okay. All right. Now, you know what? Looking at this, I do not like this at all. I'm gonna erase that by painting it over in white. I think I dropped the bottom of my G too low. It's supposed to be kind of even with the last part of the words, so I'm going to paint over that. This will be a good example of how nothing is permanent in painting. You can always redo what you did. So I'm just going to get some of my white and I'm going to paint right over the bottom of this. I don't need to redo the top, it's okay. So I'm just going to redo this bottom part here. So I'll just paint over the bottom. Alright, I'm going to give that a minute to dry. Alright, I have painted over the G that I messed up in white, and you can still see just a tiny bit of the outline of it, but that's okay because it'll be covered up by my new G. So let's try this again. Alright, I'm going to start with my bottom this time so that I can get it in the right place that I want it. Okay, buddy, I'm doing a video right now. Can you give me a minute?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is anybody else's kids home sick from school today? Because mine are. Flu season is in full effect. They're at each other's throats in there. They love each other, but they sure do argue. But I guess that's normal for siblings. It was with me and my brother anyway. Okay, right now I'm just thickening up these lines now. I've got it where I want it with the G. So, there we go. All done. Okay, now I'm going to apply the gloss coat. And I am out of my normal gloss coat that I use, so I've been using just a top coat. This is like for nail polish. This is just Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. So I just paint this over top of the whole thing. I like this because it's glossy. I have a matte spray that's in like an aerosol can that I will spray over top of the gloss, just to give it an outdoor seal, like if I'm gonna hide it outside or something. But I like the way that the gloss just makes the gold pop and the flowers pop. So I do this first on there. Just painting it on there quickly. All right, it's all done. Now you've got your nice spring wreath. All right, guys, so I hope that was more helpful, doing the step-by-step for you all to see it slowed down. I'd love to see what you guys are able to paint from this tutorial or from the tips given in this tutorial. So if you like this video, if it was helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel to see all the latest videos that are put out. Thanks, guys.